Welcome back to Bill Plays Bass, where I am about to ruin this pickup. But that's okay, because it sucks anyway. So this is a humbucker from my Sterling by Musicman Ray4HH. And it sounds amazing. However, when you are playing, you hear a lot of percussive things, and anytime you tap on it, you can hear it. So I hate that. So I am going to try to rectify this, and I don't know how successful I am going to be, by submerging it mostly in paraffin wax. So we got some Gulf Wax brand wax. You can get this at most grocery stores if they find it in stock, but tons of other places. I think I got this at a home improvement place called Menards. So the theory behind this, and wax potting is fairly old, but any sort of gaps that you have inside the pickup, and especially with the cover, can possibly cause it to be microphonic. Now, what's interesting, when you hear microphonic in most pickups, what you normally hear is something more like squeal or whatever versus literally just being able to tap it. So there's a lot of gap here. It's kind of weird. I was kind of hoping I could get this off, but if you look, it's like up here, it's sort of, it's glued in, at least maybe just the magnets are glued in, but I'm afraid I'll just break that cover if I try to get it off. Now, this does have an interesting design here. If you look, there's just this foam piece glued, but then there's two springs recessed in the foam, and that's just to give you your pickup height. I'm not so sure why this is so much crushed, but that's how it came out. So anyhow, our goal here is going to be to melt this Gulf wax, this paraffin wax, and I want to get the pickup submerged just to maybe the bottom point of the foam here, because I don't want the foam to be all weird. So let me show you my wonderful setup here. Yes, that's a pan. Yes, that's a stove. Now, I've watched a good video on this from a guy that makes guitars for a living called Highline Guitars. You can go check it out. Just look up Highline Guitars wax potting. And he uses a small crock pot. I don't have a small crock pot. What I do have, though, is an induction range. So this is the kind of expensive stuff that, as long as you have a pan that's compatible, which is most, it sort of just vibrates the pan, and that's what makes the heat. What's really nice is it's very consistent, and I can melt things like I can melt chocolate by turning this on one very safely. If you've got a gas stove, don't do this with a gas stove. So this will make fumes that can be flammable. So don't do that. Don't have an open flame unless you're, again, don't do that. So a regular electric stove, I don't know if you're going to have the control or not. You can use a double boiler, which is basically, say, take this and you put something else in it, and like another pan, but put water in between to kind of try to adjust your temp or keep your temp from spiking. So in this case, like I said, we're using Gulf wax. You want to make sure you have enough Gulf wax to do the job. That looks like that should be fine. This pickup, once I put the pickup in, it's going to displace a fair amount of that. Again, I'm going to try just to creep up on exactly the right amount so that I can not, sink the paraffin all the way through the foam. So let me show you what we're dealing with here. So this comes in 4 pieces. And I'm sure I would do better if I cut these, but I am just going to go ahead, put one in, and I'm going to turn the temp on 1. So on this particular stove, it just calls it low. All Right. Well, that's incredibly slowly melting. I'm just gonna put a. This is I think a bacon tray, like a microwavable bacon tray, and I'm just gonna put it off to the side here to have something to put the pickup on when it's ready. So what I'll do is I'll soak the pickup once I get the right amount of wax melted, just until the air bubbles that are inside all the cavities all stop. That way you assume that you filled all the voids, and that's what we're looking to do. You can do this with epoxy as well. If you had some sort of epoxy dropper system, the only thing with this, I can be very inaccurate, and then when I pull it out, I'm just going to wipe it down and it'll come right off. Epoxy's not going to do that. I also worry that maybe you get some epoxy in there, it doesn't get quite to where it needs to, and it fails to, like it dries, and then now it's in the way. Because epoxy does not melt. Once epoxy is done, it is done. All right, I decided to crank my stove up a little bit. It's on 2 and it's doing a great job of melting the stuff pretty quickly. If you see, that first bar is about melted. So I'm going to throw a second in there. And we'll see if I have enough here in terms of being able to completely flood that pickup the way I want to. So what I think I'm going to try to do is I'm going to melt all this stuff first, see what kind of the level looks like, and then I am going to try to back down the heat and see if it will not turn back into a solid. The idea is to have as little heat as possible while the pickup has got to be in the bath. Now, paraffin wax supposedly melts between like 116 and 150 something. I would love that to be a lot more on the 115. I was on Vegas last year and I've experienced 115, and well, it sucked. I'm still here. 150, I don't know. I don't know how toasty that is. Boiling is 212 Fahrenheit. All right, well, brick 2 of the Gulf wax is mostly melted. And I'm going to throw a third brick in there. We'll see after this if this is close to the amount of wax that we need to do the job. So it's nice on 2. This is still melting, especially as I add stuff. It's kind of melting a bit slower, which is fine by me. And again, once I feel like I have enough in here, I'm just going to turn the temperature down as low as I can get it. I'm on 2 right now. I basically can go to 1.5 or 1, so that once the pickup is in place, it's hopefully going to not be cooked, because it may have to stay in there 10 or 15 minutes before all the bubbling's done, unfortunately. So the only things you can cook are probably the plastic that's on this particular pickup, and I should be nowhere near hot enough to do that. All right, I'm gonna be stupid here. That's hotter than I would like to have hot wax on me. So I'll definitely be turning the temperature down. That's so these induction heat tops, because of what they do, they only vibrate the metal. So only the metal gets hot. The induction right at the very base of this is hot just because this is making it hot, but it's not around there. So if you ever wondered, it's great because fire hazard, unless you do something really stupid in the pan, is almost nil. So, all right, the melt continues. How deep this is. So the question is do I have enough wax melted or not? And then let's take a look. And what I see is probably yes. It's probably just right. So let's see what there you go. So the whole idea is that this big honking heavy humbucker is going to displace a fair amount. So when I put it in, and it's going to go in violently because of course giant magnets. So nothing I can do about that. So what I'm going to do next, I think I have enough. We will see. But I'm going to turn the heat down and see if I can still keep this stuff liquid. Again, we're going for the lowest heat where it's melted. So wish me luck. All right, we are back. So I have managed to keep the paraffin wax melted on the lowest setting on my stove, which is cool. So to recap, I had it on 2 to melt the stuff relatively quickly, maybe 10-15 minutes for all 3 of the quarter-pound bars of Gulf wax I used. So now is the time. Now what I've noticed is it's still pretty hot. Shock, right? I don't want my hands in that stuff. So got the, here's my solution to that problem. Now, these are garden gloves. Brand new one though, so I am hoping that I don't get burnt. Now, we're going to find out how my level is. I'm hoping maybe I'm just a hair low. My intent is to use this spoon here and just kind of spoon over the outside edges until I fill it up, if that's the case. All right, well, here's to buying a brand new Seymour Duncan pickup set to replace this after I bust it. And let's see if that magnet just sucks down the bottom and tries to freak me out. It did not. And I don't have to worry about the spoon. Yeah, I've got some things, at least I don't think so. So I've got some things. I'll have all sorts of little issues. But, oh, by the way, I have my thumb in there the most. I would not have wanted my bare hand in that. I'm going to tell you that now. Do not do that. Oh, so you just had some nice bubbles there, and bubbles are our friends. Again, that's not just air escaping, but as the air escapes, it's wax getting into the pickup. So what's nice is we're completely submerged. So once all these air bubbles come out, the actual wax potting is done. Now what I'm going to do, once the bubbles are out, is I'll transfer it over to the sheet, and then very, very quickly I will just rub all the liquid wax off of it while still trying to make sure that the wax on the, basically I don't want to pour the wax that's in it out of it. So I guess the plan is pick it up and then hit it from underneath real quick, put it down, hit the edges, and we'll go from there. But I am seeing the bubbles, so I'm probably going to walk away from this thing for at least 5 minutes. I've watched again a more professional video on the Highline guitars. I think it's one word, High, H-I-G-H-L-I-N-E. Guy's an amazing luthier. And I do plan on doing some more of his tips, especially for finishing guitars. I will be back in a few. I don't think there's any danger of this melting. I will probably check it a little more often than I should, just in case, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. Again, nice bubble action. And realistically, I would say that was just the right amount of wax. So I'll return in a few. All right, I think this is about 8 minutes in. Still getting some bubbles, so still going to leave it submerged. Again, the heat is on the lowest setting because I got to keep that wax melted for this to be useful. All right, well, I feel like I am ready to go here. So, the moment of truth. So this time I am wearing 2 gloves. And then what I don't want to do is when I pick it up, I don't want to pour all of the stuff out of it. So I kind of want to do this carefully. I love to get all the wax off of every nook and cranny on the bottom. I don't know if that's really going to happen. No big deal. I can wipe that wax off with a solvent or something later. So turn this off, and here it goes. Ooh, Yeah, there's a hole in that glove. And that did not feel good. That did not feel good at all. I'm not dying or anything, but yeah, that sucked. So, and of course I can't let this cool because it'll congeal. So here we go. Ouch. Both the left and the right thumbs have holes in them. This is, it sucks. I'm not dying or anything though, so. All right. So yeah, I'm just going to keep this on the rag, on the flat piece. So I'm just kind of trying to get the wax off the bottom, wax off of these pieces, wax off the foam, which I don't think I did too bad a job on the whole foam thing. But this is the only chance you get to easily get the wax off places that you didn't want it from pulling up. Jeez. So the other thing I don't want is I don't want the wax pulling up on it from the rag. So at this point I'm taking that off, and if I get anything more that wants to drip off of it, like I said, I'm just going to kind of move it around. As you can see, yeah, see all that wax would be, you know, still on it. So I'll kind of do that a bit. I don't want to let it sit too long, and this will be interesting to see how long it takes for this to go back to solid. And I'm going to leave it in there on the odd chance this actually works, and pickup number 2's got to come out. That'll be sometime later, but nice to think ahead. All right, there you go. One thing I can tell you is don't use cheap Home Depot gardening gloves to grab the wax. Not a good idea. I don't really have any burns, so that's cool. But if you're wondering if that was leaking or not, that's wax. So not cool, but I'm not burnt, so that's nice. All right, well, my expectation is just to let this bad boy dry. It's not going to look any different. I mean, why would it? We can get a little closer to the action here on the pickup. Let's see if maybe I can zoom in. But kind of the whole purpose, which when you look from above looks pretty good, although I still see a little void here. I'm kind of wondering if I should spoon a little wax in there maybe. So I don't know if this side here, there we go. And you know what? I'm just better safe than sorry. Now the stupid the magnet is drawing the spoon, so metal spoon, maybe not the best. Jeez. Really can't be avoided. All right, I feel better about that. So, time to get another rag quickly. So of course all that wipe down I did early was for nothing, but I'd much rather be sure the wax, yeah, it's already trying to settle down in here. Here we go. And I'm gonna zoom back out a little bit. There we go. So yeah, very quickly the wax is trying to solidify on here, which means it's doing the same thing all over the pickup. Oh well. It is what it is. I'd much rather just know that I got wax all the way around there, and then I'll have to do some more cleanup when it's ready. So I would say, if anything, the last step was unnecessary. It looks like the wax is just kind of pouring out from like the kind of overflow there. So all right, this stage of the game, I am just going to leave it alone, and that'll be it for this quick video here. I say quick, it's been forever. And all right, so there you go. Wax potted pickup. All this can be left as a cleanup, no biggie. And then the reinstall. So I did this with a purpose. I don't know if that purpose is going to be fulfilled or not. So stay tuned on the next video.